Hi, my name's Ariana and this is L'amour darling. So, long time no talk. I've been busy in my own life, and then this past weekend with everything that's been happening in terms of the protests in the US, it just did not feel correct to post the video that I had ready. So I decided to postpone that video, and I want to do something that talks about and can help bring representation to what is currently happening. So I've been looking for ways to help out with the current protests and the Black Lives Matter movement, like I think many people have. And as I talk about film on this channel, I thought a great way for me to do that is to talk about Black directors, most of whom on my list for today are African American, but it's also more of an international scene as well. And so my hope is that with this list, if you haven't already seen these movies, that you'll want to go and see them and hopefully have a better understanding of the context as to what is happening, and also just simply have other people who definitely know a lot more than I do about the situation and who have felt it a lot more than I will ever have their voices be heard. Also, today is going to be a bit of a shorter video because I really want these movies and these directors and these actors and actresses and writers to have the voice that they deserve and not really to give my opinion. So a lot of the movies today that I'm going to talk about deal with police violence. So if that's something that concerns you or stresses you out on an emotional level, I just want you to be aware of that, and I hope that is a good enough trigger warning in the sense of if you end up watching these movies. So the ones that deal with police violence are I Am Not Your Negro by Raoul Peck. And this is actually based off of James Baldwin's last writings before he died, which were incompleted, with the same name. And it is a documentary that uses Baldwin's writings and compares that to documentary footage and just historical footage as well from the past few years, but then also from the 60s and the earlier 20th century. My next film is The Hate U Give, which is by George Tillman Jr. This is a movie for young adults that has to do with a girl who has to code switch constantly because she goes to a predominantly white, very privileged private school while she is African American. So her best friend from when she's a child is unfortunately killed by the police while she is in the car, and with the help of the greater city start a movement to help stop police violence. As it's a high school film, it can feel a bit simplified, but I was actually incredibly impressed with how much they go into the subjects, and it's the type of film that I wish that I was able to watch when I was a teenager, because Hollywood films like this just did not exist even 10 years ago, unfortunately. Also, I've previously talked about Queen and Slim by Melina Matsoukas, so I won't talk too much about it, but I will say that it of course also deals with police violence, so it's definitely something to take a look at and it's worth to rewatch. So hi, this is future me coming back at you. I realized that I messed up one of the clips and I still really wanted to include this film, so I'm going to briefly talk about it in a different outfit. So one of the movies that I wanted to talk about was If Beale Street Could Talk by Jenkins, and this is also based on writings by James Baldwin. It's about a couple in Harlem in the early 1970s where the boyfriend is wrongly accused of assault on purpose, so he is forced to go to jail, and the girlfriend, who finds out that she's pregnant, tries to fight for him to get out of jail along with her family. I will not spoil it anymore, but it is a fantastic film and you should definitely see it. Back to the old clips. Another movie by Jenkins which does not have to deal with police brutality is Moonlight, and this is especially important for Pride Month because it's about a coming of age story for a man who's, well, a boy for some of it, who realizes that he is gay. Next I want to talk about Sorry to Bother You by Boots Riley, which is a lot of different things, I guess you could say, but it's definitely one of my favorite films from the last few years. And lastly, as there's a lot of actual police violence here in France as well, I thought that I'd include a French film by Lajli called Les Miserables, and this came out last year and deals with police violence in the suburbs of Paris. And while I don't want to take away what's happening in the US, there's a very similar feeling that's happening both in this film but also in general. Like, as I'm filming this, there was a protest last night for Adama Traoré. Adama Traoré. I butchered his name several times, and to respect the movement, I needed to correct myself, even though that is still not perfect. My apologies. Who was wrongfully murdered by the police. That's my list. It was very much rapid fire, but once again, I hope that you'll be able to watch it and give the movies the voice that they need. I hope that you are doing as well as you can be right now. Keep fighting, and I will be having hopefully more videos like this soon, and also the video that I before mentioned that I was waiting to post. So, bye!